Hello, and welcome. In today's lesson, we will be simulating a common experimental paradigm used in behavioral studies of songbird learning, cross-fostering. First, we begin by considering the following question. What behaviors are we born with, and what behaviors do we learn as we develop? This is precisely the question that Dr. Sarah Bottjer, a neurobiology professor at the University of Southern California, has asked, but not strictly in the context of human development. Dr. Bottjer and many other researchers around the world study the behavior of songbirds, such as zebra finches, as a way of better understanding how organisms learn specific behaviors, in this case, their species' unique song, over time. Swamp sparrows, like all other songbirds, have a distinct song, which the untrained human ear recognizes as indiscriminate chirping, that is unique to their particular species and allows them to communicate with other finches in their species population. However, without conducting carefully controlled experiments, such as those described in the lesson plan and in later parts of this video, it's nearly impossible to determine if these birds are born with an inherent inclination for their own species songs, which would make song learning an innate behavior, or if they have the potential to learn other species songs in development, which would suggest that song learning is a learned behavior. To answer this question of whether song learning is an innate or learned behavior, scientists conduct cross-fostering experiments in which they separate infant yellow-green sparrows from their biological parents and rear them in a foster parent environment. Critically, the foster parent is not from the same species as the fostered infant, so the song the infant will be exposed to will be distinct from their biological or familial song. Once the infant has matured to a young adult stage, they will live with both the foster species and other birds from their species and be studied carefully to see if they are able to recognize or modify their song to be more similar to their biological or familial song. In this activity, you and other teaching assistants will be guiding students through a version of the cross-fostering experimental paradigm in which you and the teaching assistants will play the roles of the parent sparrows and the students will play the roles of the infant sparrows. We recommend reviewing Figure 14 in the lesson plan prior to beginning the activity, as well as conferring with teaching assistants to determine what two melodies will be used for the two different sparrow species songs. For this activity, you will need the following materials: printed out or projected images of the two sparrow species highlighted in this lesson. You may want to print out and or project Figure 13 for this. Sample audio recordings of the two species songs. See lesson plans for link to audio samples. And pre-made lanyards for each student containing the spectrogram showing their species song pattern. Before beginning the cross-fostering game, assign students, randomly or at your discretion, to a particular species, either the swamp sparrow or the song sparrow species, and rearing group will either be reared by their biological parents or by foster parents. It is important that once students are placed in their rearing groups, each group be physically separated such that while students are in the learning phase of their song development, they are not distracted by or able to hear any other species songs. After the learning phase has taken place, students can then roam to sing their parental song and attempt to guess what species of sparrow their fellow classmates are. After guiding students through the cross-fostering experiment, we recommend dedicating time to ask students the guiding questions included in the curriculum and/or any other questions you feel are important to help solidify students' understanding of the experiment. An extension of this activity may include class-wide discussions of and/or activities centered around other prominent innate and learned behaviors in the animal kingdom. For example, the behavior of imprinting, which is observed in many bird species, perhaps most famously by behavioral psychologist Konrad Lorenz with infant ducklings, is an experience-based behavior that ensures newborn ducklings establish an immediate and close relationship with their mother, who is typically the first organism they see upon birth. Freezing is an innate behavior observed in many rodent species and describes the phenomenon of freezing in a place when a potentially dangerous or unfamiliar stimulus is presented in the environment. Once you are ready to measure student comprehension of the lesson, provide each student with a printed copy of Worksheet 4A, on which students will be instructed to answer a series of questions in various different formats to accommodate different assessment strengths, testing their understanding of the activity. Please note that this assessment may not be suitable for younger, pre-literate students, and some students may require additional assistance with the assessment. Thanks for watching!